I'm Julie Tour, and welcome to my video blog. You'll see Reese making an appearance, as well as Scooby's running around here playing. I love my dachshunds, so they'll be making appearances in probably most of my videos, especially if I'm doing them from home. But I just wanted to talk about developing your psychic intuition and how to develop psychic awareness, which is something that I find that when people are skeptics or if they've never really had the experience, it's more often than not their lifestyle actually keeping them in a certain consciousness. So I wanted to talk about a few things that I did, 5 things to be exact, that helped me develop my intuition. The first thing I did, I was guided to go caffeine-free, and one of my spiritual teachers often talked about caffeine and making you anxious and really blocking out true psychic divine guidance. You could be a little bit more paranoid, you could be kind of in that mentality where, oh my gosh, there's not enough time in the day, I don't know if I'm going to do everything, instead of just trusting. So the main thing I did was start taking more wheatgrass shots instead of espresso shots. In my coffee I would take a shot of wheatgrass in the morning. That definitely helped wake me up. The other thing that I did, especially being a vegetarian, it's important to make sure your B12 levels are sufficient. So every morning I would take a high potency dissolvable tablet. This is what I actually use. These B12 pills, I take 1 a day, and it definitely really helped boost my energy. I didn't need Red Bulls anymore. I used to be one of those people, like if I were working a 12-hour shift, my boss would be like, okay, go into the store, you need your Red Bull, right? And it got to the point where I was like, nope, I don't need it. It was kind of funny because my sales were so great, everyone started trying to integrate other things other than caffeine to get them to keep going. Like, Julie must be doing something right. So it was kind of funny to spread that health conscious mentality in that office a little bit. The second thing that I did, which I've been a vegetarian actually for 11 years, and I actually found out from fellow light workers and people who have had these experiences that actually helps enhance intuition and divine guidance and recognizing divinely inspired ideas. And also, after doing a little bit of research, I found that some of our greatest thinkers in our society ever in history, like Leonardo da Vinci and Albert Einstein, to name a couple, were actually vegetarians. And if you really think about it, if you really, even if you don't fully believe yet, if you understand that everything is energy and everything is connected, consuming something that's been tortured and killed and lived a miserable existence before you consumed it, and putting that into your body, that energy, that fearful, toxic, lower vibrational energy becomes part of your being. So even if you're not thinking so much about the animal, which I hope you do, but even if you're not, just from a purely scientific, higher science standpoint, it's pretty easy to make the connection of why that becomes part of your body and how that could block out true psychic guidance and divine guidance. So that's something that I'm very passionate about, is trying to develop a vegetarian diet. But for me, taking my intuition to the next level, I decided to try out a vegan diet. And I live in the Midwest. I live in Michigan, to be exact, and there's not a whole lot of vegan restaurants. Unlike California or certain other places in the world, it can be very difficult to eat vegan. So the other thing I did is if I ever went out to eat, and sometimes some restaurants it's difficult to make things vegetarian, everything comes with chicken or whatever on it, I'd be like, no chicken, hold that. Even if it did have a little bit of milk product in it, I would pray over it, and that gives it actually an energetic boost. So I think it's fascinating that in so many religions you do pray over your meal, and it really does give it an energetic boost. So it's definitely a good thing to send that intention out there. I always call upon Archangel Michael or Jesus and just thank them for the meal and thank God and ask for actually an energetic boost in the meal, which helps. So I would always pray over my food, and also too, I'd also send energy to the actual animal that the milk came from, which you can do mentally. I always asked for blessings and thanks to the animal that was giving me the food, and that really helps. And that kind of comes from the Native American culture a little bit. I have a little bit of Native American in my background as far as my family tree goes, so that's something that really resonated with me. The third thing that I did, which many people talk about fluoride, and I'm glad that it's becoming such a topic of awareness now. There are 2 points that I make in my lifestyle to avoid fluoride intake as much as possible. The first is to drink fluoride-free water. You always want to make sure on the back of your water label that it's been purified with reverse osmosis. Boiling water and Brita filters, unfortunately, both do not eliminate fluoride. And then the second thing I always make sure to do is use fluoride-free dental products, which in our society, many people do fluoridate anything that have to do with your teeth enamel. There's actually a study that came out by Harvard, which I can put the link on this video, that actually stated that places where there's fluoridated water, there's actually lower IQs. So there is actually a direct statistical correlation between fluoride consumption and your IQ. And what's fascinating to me too in history, if you look in, for prisoners in Siberia or the concentration camps in Nazi Germany, they would actually pump the water with fluoride to make the prisoners more docile and more easily controlled. And I think it's funny because, well, not funny, that's terrible, but it's interesting, I guess I should say, that fluoride actually can inhibit divine guidance, and directly, scientifically, it actually calcifies what we know as the pineal gland. And so if you have a bunch of prisoners with divine guidance beaming through rapidly, they're not going to be as easily controlled. And it's really sad to me that we actually have fluoridated water for infants, especially when they're just getting their first teeth. Their teeth are going to fall out anyway. Not saying that they shouldn't take great care of their teeth, but they say it's for teeth development. And we're actually, right from birth, pumping so much fluoride into our infants where their pineal glands aren't developing. And I find that very sad, actually, so I like to really talk about that topic. Obviously, my teeth are really white. Actually, I love being an example because both my parents, they had fillings. I'm the only one in my family really that hasn't needed a filling, and or braces for that matter. My teeth straighten out on their own. I used to have a big gap in my teeth, so I'm blessed, I know that. But the other thing that I do though is I take really good care of my teeth. I'm meticulous with my teeth, actually. And I brush every day, a couple times a day, sometimes 3 if I bring it to work, which is rare. Usually it's just right when I wake up or right before bed. And I floss a lot. And what I do for not using fluoride, I actually buy a special toothpaste, which there's lots of different brands, but just to share what I use, this anti-plaque and whitening Tom's toothpaste, which you can actually Google too, or YouTube, I guess I should say, different types of ways to identify good toothpaste, and there's different codes on the back that will show you if there's, extra chemicals in there. But fluoride-free toothpaste is actually something I'm also very passionate about, and I've never had a cavity. I get compliments all the time. People ask me what I do to keep my teeth so white, and I tell them I use fluoride-free toothpaste, and they don't want to switch. They're like, oh, that's not going to work. But I'm living proof. It does work, and I just brush regularly. The other thing that I did, number 4, natural beauty products. I always made sure, well, actually not always, I actually started to use aluminum-free deodorant about a year ago. And I'll never forget, I had just made the switch to using oils right before I went on a trip to Florida with one of my best friends. And it was kind of funny because it was kind of like my big test to see if it works, and it did. I'm like, if I smell, seriously, let me know. I was so worried about it. But I used a combination of different things. One of the things that I use, which actually my dogs kind of chewed the top a little bit because they like the smell of it, but I bought this at Whole Foods Market actually in my area. It's just a peppermint oil. It kind of honestly stings a little bit after you shave your pits, but at the same time it's very, very strong and it's cooling, so you don't sweat. So that's why I like to use it to avoid the stinging. Sometimes there's actually this like Crystal Essence deodorant, or even Burt's Bees, they make an all-natural deodorant that I'll put on first and then put peppermint oil over top. And that really helps. And I was making a joke to my friend Melissa. I'm like, it just makes me smell like a minty, fresh mouthwash if I ever sweat. And it really does work. And I went around all the theme parks with my friend, and I kept saying, just smell me. I don't want to smell in line or anything. And he's like, you honestly smell fine. I'd tell you if you smell bad. The other thing too is definitely using hair products with less chemicals in it. I was somebody that did the mainstream marketing products, and I ended up switching to using more oil-based formulas. And something that I use, this is just the sample, but they have a whole line of stuff. I like using argan oil, and this is the one I've been actually using lately, but it's got less chemicals in it. There's some brands, which being a former, marketing major, or I guess that's my bachelor's degree, I actually noticed that a lot of things that claim to be natural or had even the word organic in like the beginning of the name actually weren't organic. So just be cautious of that. Be really careful of mainly metals in the products. A lot of beauty products use metals. I try to shy away from hairspray, but sometimes it's necessary. It's very humid, and there's definitely some lines that are more naturally based, especially at beauty companies that do like wholesale. I notice I could get things like that for very inexpensive amounts of money, and so I was saving money and using all natural hair products, which helps. The fifth thing, which is last but not least, is actually chakra clearing. And chakra clearing, I actually started getting on this regimen where I would meditate in the morning and meditate at night. And my favorite one is Doreen Virtue's Clearing Chakra Meditation. You can actually find it for free on YouTube. There's a couple times where I forgot my iPod or whatever, and I ended up just using it on YouTube as well. But I highly recommend actually buying her book. It really helped me understand the chakras. But you go through and you clear the day's events every day. So every day as a sensitive being, we actually pick up on other people's energies and they get stuck in our energy centers. And so every night it's a good thing to go through mentally and actually release the day and be ready for a peaceful sleep and be really relaxed. And then there's actually one in the morning where it boosts your energy and all the different chakras and you're ready to have a marvelous day. And that's something that really, really helped me. The other thing that I ended up integrating, which it took me a while to actually get into it, was yoga. And I did find that physically, you need a physical outlet to let that negative energy that's been pent up in your body go. And I actually found one. It was a stress relief yoga. I think I found it at Best Buy. But that one was a great one because there was a morning yoga session and an evening yoga session. And that's something that really helped me out as well. Just to get on those routines. Just wake up a little earlier, and I know it sounds crazy. You don't need to do all of these things all at once. I actually integrated them into my life step by step. Once I felt comfortable with the no caffeine, then I went vegan, then I, went fluoride-free because I wanted to really push how far I could go being chemically free. Because I do believe that, there's some people that do believe that in order to have a psychedelic experience or a psychic experience, it needs to be induced with drugs or it needs to be induced with different things, and I disagree. I feel like God gave us everything that we need to reach that, and when you're taking good care of your body and you're using it as a tool in the right way, you're going to have clear, long-lasting, unmistakable, undeniable psychic experiences. And I find that even if you're not having super tangible ones, even if you're just doing a few things, oh hi Scooby, but even if you're just doing a few things just to have divinely inspired ideas, you'll just notice that more synchronistic moments will line up in your life. Like, I didn't have a clear sign necessarily to go work at a local restaurant while I was writing my book, but I just felt like I needed to go there, and I applied and it helped me pay the bills while I was writing my book. Then I found out that very coincidental moment, insurance recruiter that had been talking to me for over a year, their son just happened to work with me at that restaurant, and the office and that restaurant were about 2 hours apart. So that's very interesting to me that that even happened, and now I can also sell insurance from home while I'm working on publishing my book this summer. So good things happen. Just follow your intuition. Everyone has their own path, but definitely those 5 things will really help you out. Namaste. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, comments, any recommendations of things that you did to further enhance your divine guidance, and I will talk to you soon.